ChatGPT ads, you guys, let's do this. Let's talk about everything you need to know about ChatGPT ads. They just launched about a month ago, and so it is new, it is fresh. And so I put that line under there, everything you need to know for now, because ChatGPT ads are constantly changing. Every week there are new things. But what we know right now is really powerful and really important. So I'm going to share with you everything that we're learning from about a month of testing ChatGPT ads with folks. Um, in the wedding industry. Real quick, before we dive in, because there's a lot of new faces here, a lot of people I have not met yet, and some familiar faces, I wanted to share who I am for context. This isn't going to be about me, it's going to be about ChatGPT ads, I promise, but just a little bit of context of who I am and why I'm sharing this information. A long time ago, in the early 2000s, I was a wedding photographer and I figured out Google Ads for our own wedding photography studio. And I'll never forget when a couple came in and they had found us from our Google ad and they booked us. And the story to that is that I had been doing the Chamber of Commerce and BNI and networking, and I had been working my ass off 7 days a week for a really long time, and I was tired. And I learned paid advertising, and it worked for our photography studio. And I became really passionate about helping other people in the wedding industry with their paid ads because I wanted them to experience what I experienced and to like, be a little bit dramatic about it. It changed my life when I learned paid advertising and it helped me get my time back so that I could be great at wedding photography and I could have a social life and have friends and date people because that wasn't happening when I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So became very enthusiastic about paid advertising. And since then, since 2010, I put my camera down and I have had the I Do Society where we focus just on paid advertising. We manage millions and millions of dollars in paid ads for wedding businesses of all types across the country. And personal note, I'm a lover of the outdoors. I love hiking, I love snowboarding, I love traveling, and it just makes me really happy because I spend a lot of time staring at the computer. So if you're an outdoor person, let's connect. I love being outside when I'm not working really hard here. And the company that I built is called the I Do Society. That's the host or the sponsor of today's event, you could say. And the only thing we do at the I Do Society is a super narrow focus of paid advertising for businesses in the wedding industry. Up until a month ago, that looked like Google ads, Meta ads, and TikTok ads. But now that ChatGPT ads are live, we've added into our portfolio of what we do. So we just do paid advertising for businesses in the wedding industry, and we're really, really good at it. We don't build websites, we don't do SEO, we don't do organic social media. We just want to be really good at one thing, and that's paid advertising for wedding businesses. So before we even talk about ChatGPT ads, we actually have to frame advertising. And I want you to know what you need to know before you even pay for any ads on any platform. Because at the end of the day, paid advertising isn't a silo. It doesn't live alone. You can't just throw a bunch of money at ads and expect results. Let's address why most wedding businesses get frustrated and with paid advertising, why it fails. The first thing is that they're dipping their toe in the water. They think like, oh, I'm just going to spend a tiny bit of money because I'm afraid of losing money. And that's a realistic fear. But at the end of the day, when you dip your toe in the water, it does not match the couple's journey. And here's what I mean by that. Let's take Google Ads, for example. Let's say I'm going to spend I want to spend $200 a month on Google Ads, and I want people to click on my Google ad and visit my website. Couples journey to deciding who's going to be the venue, the most important person, or the DJ or whoever at the most important day of their life. That journey isn't perfectly linear. They don't just click a Google ad and decide to give you $3,000, right? When they go to Google and they're searching for a DJ in their area or a photographer or a bridal store, whatever it is, they're looking for a list of results. So they may click on your ad and visit your website, and Google did its job. But because this is such an important emotional decision for them, it isn't linear like that. People need to see you to be seen in multiple places multiple times. And if you just spend a tiny bit of money and you dip your toe in the water, they're going to click your ads, they're going to visit your website, but then they never see you again. They're going to end up with one of your competitors or choosing someone else. So unfortunately, dipping your toe in the water with paid advertising is one of the main reasons why most wedding businesses fail at paid ads and get frustrated. And it actually wasn't the ad platform's fault. It wasn't your strategy fault. It was the fact that couples' journey to conversion and booking you takes many, many steps. And we'll talk more about that. Another reason why some wedding businesses fail is often they know someone who's really good at one ad platform. Maybe they know someone who's really good at Instagram and they set up Instagram ads for you. But like we talked about, their journey is fragmented and takes many steps. And if you're just doing one ad platform, it doesn't work because they just see you once. They don't see you in multiple places multiple times. Two other reasons, maybe you hired a company whose core service is something else. There's a couple companies in the wedding, or actually in the bridal industry, that have like a software service and they add on paid ads, but their core service is actually the software, but they're adding on paid advertising to up their revenue and get more revenue in the door. But their actual core service is a software solution. It's not paid advertising, but they sold it to you for really cheap because they want your dollars and they have someone who works in a foreign country who can push the buttons in Google ads or Meta ads. So that's a recipe for failure because that company's core service is not paid advertising. Or the last example of why it often doesn't work is hiring a company that is not wedding industry specific. There's a lot of local great companies out there, but local people don't study what brides do all day, every day. They don't study the wedding industry. They don't constantly learn what makes a bride convert on a landing page. So hiring a local company, they could be great people, but if you're their only wedding business, they're learning on your dime. So these are four main reasons why businesses fail with advertising. But let's talk about how to get success with paid advertising. And it comes down to this, is that we live in an attention economy. Thinking back to that example of dipping your toe in the water, if you only get their attention once, you won't have success. But if you use multiple ad platforms and you have a healthy budget and you get their attention in multiple places multiple times, then that couple knows what makes you great, what makes you different. And that's the recipe for success with paid advertising. Here's a visual example of how that could work using paid advertising. We'll use paid advertising as the foundation of this example. Let's say you are running ads on Google and they click on your Google ad and they visit the homepage of your website. But they also want to know, who are you on Instagram? What's your content like? What do you stand for? And then they go to your Google reviews because they want to know what other people have said about using your service. This is a perfectly reasonable path, right? So they started on their Google ad, they end up at your Google reviews, and then maybe they're on your pricing page because they need to know what does this cost? And then they go to your about page because they want to know who you are, what you stand for, what you look like, what you sound like, right? This is a perfectly reasonable path for someone to take after finding you from a Google ad. And then they leave their website. That's that red X there. But let's say that you started ChatGPT ads and they remember you, and then they're talking to ChatGPT about putting their wedding together, getting all their questions answered or getting their plan together, and they see your ChatGPT ads. So they go back to your website, visit the pricing page. Maybe they text or chat with you to ask a question like, do you have my date available? They're back on your about page, reminding themselves who you are and getting a feel for who you are again. And then they actually end up booking a tour or a meeting with you or an appointment with you. And you can see all the different steps that it takes for a couple who doesn't know anything about you to have for you to have earned their trust, to have them book a meeting with you. So being seen in multiple places multiple times is the recipe for success with paid ads. If you're not seen in multiple places multiple times, they may click on your Google ad, learn all about you, but they've forgotten about you because they're busy and the internet is a wild and crazy place with many opportunities. One of the last things, or second last thing I want you to know before you start paid advertising at any platform is that different is better than better. And I know I'm off on a rabbit trail here, and I know the whole conversation is going to be about ChatGPT ads. I promise we'll get there in a second. But there's a really incredible book by a guy named Pete Martin, and he studied thousands and thousands of businesses and what made those businesses grow faster and more solidly than other businesses. And what he found was that those businesses who promoted what made them different succeeded much more than those businesses that promoted that they were better than their competition. So here's examples on the screen. If your marketing and your website says, "Oh, we provide the best service," or "You'll have a better experience with us," that is getting lost in the noise. If people are going to write you a check for multiple thousands of dollars, they expect you to give them a good experience. They expect you to be better than someone that they're paying less money to, right? So you need to communicate in your marketing, in your paid ads, on your website, everywhere, what makes you different and what you stand for. So here's two examples on the right-hand side. This is a super basic example, and you can make it your own, but we're the only venue in Toledo who offers fill in the blank. What is it that you do and that you offer that differentiates you from anyone else? You must find that differentiator in order to be successful with your marketing and your paid advertising. Or if you're someone who believes love is love, put that on your website. Tell people what you stand for and make sure you differentiate yourself. There are infinite examples that we don't have time to go into here, but the takeaway for this bit when we're talking about what you need to know before you start any paid advertising program is that different is better than better. When you tell people what makes you different, you're going to succeed. And stop telling people what makes you, stop telling people that you're better or that you're the best or you have a great experience. That doesn't work. Um, and my good friend Adriana, who's in this meeting today, she has a great quote. It says, if you don't stand out, pricing becomes a determining factor. It's so true. If it's apples to apples, I'm going to pay less for the apple that costs less, right? So you must stand out, and that's the most important thing. Last little note. Oh, sorry. This is actually a really great example of like those. If you're advertising on one platform, this is I'm kind of beating a dead horse with dipping your toe in the water here, but I really want everyone to understand this. If you're just paying for what ads on one platform and people visit your website once, they don't understand how you're different because they saw it for like 10 seconds and then they left. They're unfortunately unlikely to take that next step and book with you, and you're going to get low quality, sparse leads. But let's say you go all in. Let's say you run ads on multiple platforms, you have a healthy budget, and people see you in multiple places multiple times. They visit your website repeatedly. They see what makes you different repeatedly. They're highly likely to take the next step because they have seen what makes you different multiple times. And you're going to get more and higher quality leads. There's no way around that. The last little bit is a little technical bit, but this is really important before you run paid ads, is setting up conversion tracking. Conversion tracking is when you place a piece of code on your website so that when someone clicks on your Instagram ad or your Google ad, it's tracking what they're doing on your website. And it can attribute that action if they book a meeting or book a tour or book an appointment with you. It tracks it back to the ad platform to say, hey, this ad, this time of day, these settings led to people booking appointments with you. It helps you understand what you're getting for your paid ad campaigns. It helps you create or helps you know your return on investment, your ROI. And it also gives the ad platforms more data because when they have lead data and you can track that back to the ad campaign, you are giving that algorithm more data for it to find more people who are most likely to book an appointment with you. So setting up conversion tracking is really, really important. It's technical. Have your website developer do it or have someone on Upwork or somewhere else do it. Don't try to do it yourself because it's honestly, if you're a wedding professional and you're really good at doing your thing, be good at doing that and pick someone a couple $100s to do this. Here's an example of a venue that we brought on a while ago who didn't have any conversion tracking set up. This is before we worked with them. They were boosting posts on Instagram, and they were spending a whole bunch of money. And they did get one lead, and it wasn't set up correctly. So they were paying $181 per lead. So the system thought. But when we went in and we set up a proper campaign and we set up conversion tracking, we were able to track leads and we got them 55 leads at a cost of $3.85 per lead. For this is a quality lead too. People who requested information about pricing of the venue and requested their date, see if their date was available. So this is a perfect example of how setting up conversion tracking gives the algorithm more data. You understand what your lead cost is. You understand your ROI. Don't run paid ads without setting up conversion tracking. All right, so no, we've covered a whole lot and we are ready to have a pledge. If you're going to run paid ads, this is the conclusion. For paid ads to work, and if you're going to run paid ads, this is sort of cheesy, but this is what I want you to say to yourself. For paid ads to work in today's competitive attention economy, I understand that I need to go all in. I need to repeatedly show up to brides and couples online. I need to repeatedly show couples what makes us different and unique. And I need to set up conversion tracking so that I know my ROI and I give the algorithms lead data to get more leads from that data. It's cheesy and it's tacky, but I can't tell you how many folks come to us and say, well, and they get really frustrated about Google ads or Instagram ads or whatever because it didn't work for them. But I asked them, like, were you reaching couples in multiple places multiple times? And they're like, no, we were just doing it with a local company, just Google ads, and it didn't work. Paid advertising can work. My story is not unique. It can work when you do it correctly and you do it this way. So we want to reframe your thinking from being a budget spender to being a growth driver. And let's talk about ChatGPT ads finally. So thank you for letting me get on my soapbox here. I know that was a long soapbox, but it's just so important to frame paid advertising correctly before we even talk about any ad platform. But ChatGPT ads are brand new. It's super exciting. So let's dive in. And so here we are. These are the basics of ChatGPT ads right now. Everything is in beta and things are changing fast. It's a month old. Their requirement right now is that you spend $25 a day. That'll probably get lower over time, but right now, $25 a day is the minimum ad spend, and that equates to about $750 per month. So think about that when you're thinking about reaching people in multiple places multiple times. To do ChatGPT ads, you need $750 per month, and you probably need about $500 or $600 a month on another platform to make sure those couples see you repeatedly and know what makes you different. You can target by state, designated market area, which is called a DMA region, or by zip code inside ChatGPT ads. Pretty similar to all the other platforms. The other ad platforms do allow like you to put a radius, like 1 or 2 miles around your location, maybe. In ChatGPT ads right now, you have state, DMA, and zip code, so it's typically a little bit larger targeting area. You do have the option to set start and end dates, which can be really good for short-term campaigns. Uh, Bridal stores doing trunk shows and things like that, that's pretty useful. Or venues promoting an open house. Or if you have an offer that you're promoting with your ad campaigns, that's useful to have a start and end date. So that's a good feature. Um, the ads show up on ChatGPT's free version or people who are paying for the lowest version of ChatGPT, which is called ChatGPT Go. So they pay $8 a month. Ads show up to people on both of those versions of ChatGPT. If people are paying the $25 a month or higher a business, ads do not show to them. So keep in mind that ads are showing to people on the free version or the lowest price version. And the targeting basis, which we're going to dive into a lot more in just a couple minutes, is context hints. They call it context hints. It's really similar to Google Ads keywords where people type in something in the search bar, and that's what's called a keyword in Google Ad. But in ChatGPT, they're calling it context hints, which they describe as like conversations or topics that are relevant to your business and to your ads. We're going to dive into that more, but I wanted to share just the basic settings of a ChatGPT ads campaign. This is what they look like. They're really interestingly concise. They have a headline, they have a description, and they have an image. And this is what they look like in different formats. It's really, really sparse, my friends. And so it's really important to do this correctly. And so I'm so glad you're here at this event because we're going to talk about exactly how to do it correctly right now. Um, One last note on the structure of a campaign inside ChatGPT. You have the campaign level itself. That is where you set your location, your budget, and your start and end date if you want to set it there. So if and then inside you have ad groups, which we'll go through in a second. And inside each ad group, you can have multiple ads. You set your context hints. So let's call it the equivalent of keywords inside each ad group. So that's the structure of a ChatGPT ads campaign. But let's talk about strategy for each one. Let's talk about first ad groups because campaign, like you could name it whatever you want. You set your location, you set your budget. It's pretty straightforward. But where the strategy discussion is important is starting at the ad group level. And you want to separate your ad groups either by locations that you serve, by service types that you have, or by product types. Keep them super, super focused. Here's an example of what that could look like if you're a wedding DJ or you provide a service. Let's say you're a multi-op and you have DJ services, you have a photo booth, and you have lighting. You don't want people who are talking to ChatGPT about their wedding DJ to see your lighting ads because it's not relevant to them. Same thing if they're talking to ChatGPT, like, is a photo booth worth having at my wedding? You don't want them to see your wedding DJ ads. You want them to see your photo booth ads. So this is a great example of campaign structure with ad groups that are separated out by service type. Or maybe you have a single operation business, but you operate in multiple locations and you're going to target like the whole state of Ohio or a whole region of Ohio, like the Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown area. So you're going to have an ad group for each of those major regions so that when people are talking to ChatGPT about their Cleveland wedding photographer, they see an ad that says Cleveland wedding photographer, which we'll look at in a second. But you get the idea is that ad groups should be very specific based on services that you provide, location specificity, or product types. Product types like would be most relevant to bridal, like if you have plus size dresses, you have regular size dresses, you have bridesmaids dresses, and you get the idea. So let's talk about context hints. These are sort of like keywords. Context hints need to be very specific and use as many as you can. Right now, ChatGPT is incredibly vague about how context hints are used. So the goal is make sure they're closely related and keep them very tight. Here's an example for a venue. Let's say your ad group is all about outdoor wedding venues. You can see the examples here. There's lots of different variations of wedding venue and outdoor, right? It all makes sense. And there's no limit to the number of context hints that you can put in. So you can put in as many as you want. ChatGPT doesn't tell you like whether that's good or bad at this moment. But you can see that all these examples are really about like the experience of an outdoor wedding. Um, Another example, let's say you're a bridal store. Using that same format of the ad group being super focused on location, you're putting in different variations of Cleveland bridal store, Cleveland wedding gown shop. To be honest, ChatGPT ads are so new that we don't get data on which one of these is working best and which one matters. So the strategy right now, since it's a month old, is put them all in, put all the variations in. You can actually use ChatGPT to create a list of variations if you want to. Say, hey, I'm creating ads in your platform. I'm a bridal store in Cleveland. I need a whole list of words to say bridal store in Cleveland, lots of different variations. Can you give me that list? It'll give you the list. You copy and paste it into your ad campaign. Pretty fun. You get the idea. And I see there's questions popping up, and I promise I'll get to the questions. I want to get through the whole thing first. We'll get through it really quickly, and then we'll get through the questions in the chat afterward, I promise. So let's talk about strategy for creating your ad. They're very, very limited. 50 characters is like, it's like that much. It's like 4 words, right? And the description is 100 characters. And what we've seen in how when the ads display is that the headline often gets cut off and the description often gets cut off. So you have less than 50 and less than 100. And the image is super tiny, which is kind of unhelpful. So let's talk about what makes a great ad and what seems to be working right now. Your headline is going to include your location and your product or service. And your description is going to repeat that location, super important if you can, and what makes you different. And your image has to be like an image that looks really good when it's really tiny, like the size of your thumbnail. Let's look at some examples. So let's say the headline is Toledo all-inclusive wedding, all-inclusive venue. I got rid of the word wedding in there because like if someone's talking to ChatGPT about a wedding venue and they see the word venue, they're gonna assume that it's a wedding venue. So like to save space and keep that headline shorter, I dropped the word wedding, but you can see the location, you can see that they're all inclusive and that they're a venue, and that works out really well. The description is the call to action. Book your tour of Toledo's only all-inclusive wedding venue. We're kind of repeating what the headline says, but we all don't pay much attention online, so repeating things is really important, right? And then the image is a simple and clear photo of the building's architecture. Um, let's look at an example of one of someone we work with in the Raleigh area. This was like an ad that we set up at first that said full service wedding venue near, but it got cut off. Like the location got cut off. Now a lot of people are gonna like see that and like, oh, they're gonna realize it says Raleigh, but it just doesn't look very good. And so by re-engineering and putting the location at the front of the ad, everyone clearly knows this is a Raleigh full service wedding venue. And in this case, the word wedding did fit in. But there's a lot of cases where it might get cut off. So we might even say Raleigh full service venue. And you can see that their unique selling proposition is award-winning in-house catering. So you can see the difference in the clarity of the ad when you put the location at the beginning of it. And I know I'm giving a bunch of wedding venue examples, but this is true for any business type in the wedding industry. Put your location first, put the location that you serve first, even if you're not physically in that location. And you can see this is a pretty small image, but it's a really good one because it shows like this big, beautiful wall of windows. You can see a table lined up. That does give a sense of what this looks like, what this venue looks like. But let's transition to an example for a DJ company. You've got location, you've got what makes them different, and you've got wedding DJ in there, right? So Tulsa's all-female wedding DJ team. And then here's a fun way to say it: more guests on the dance floor guaranteed. And in this case, they're putting it starting pricing because there's a lot of variation, right, in pricing for our businesses. And honestly, putting starting pricing or putting a range of pricing or the average couple costs, the average couple spends pricing in your ad copy, it can't hurt you. be super clear with people because then it's going to turn off the people that don't want to spend that much. They're not going to click on it. And the people that can afford it, they're coming into the conversation with you, knowing how much you cost right away. Super, super amazing pricing transparency. This is obviously like a AI generated image. I apologize, but you get the idea. It's a woman. She's a DJ. The image is super clear there. So that's a great example for a DJ. Let's look at an example for a bridal store. Dallas plus size bridal store. This is super, super, super clear. It's not fluffy, it's not sexy, it's not super fun and twisty and turny, but it is incredibly clear so that someone who sees this headline knows exactly what this business is about. So those are great examples of ChatGPT ads themselves. And this is actually my last point in the conversation. We've gone through so much, and I know I'm talking kind of fast, but I really want to get to these questions and answer them. And I want to actually ask for your grace in this because this is my first time giving a presentation on ChatGPT ads. So I'm sure there's things that I missed, but please pop those questions into the chat and we'll get to them in a second. Um, ChatGPT ads are not the same as Google search. What we know about how people use search in the wedding industry is that oftentimes people are looking for a local business right away. They're typing in location and business type like Raleigh wedding venues. So it's really clear that people are looking for a business in their area in Google search, and it makes it really easy. But since ChatGPT is so much more conversational, um, it's not as direct. Like people are not looking for an immediate answer, an immediate booking like they are in Google Ads, but it doesn't mean that they don't work because we've been setting up conversion tracking to track leads from ChatGPT ads, and they're starting to come through after this month. People are talking in chat about their needs for each vendor type in for their wedding, and they're seeing ads that are relevant to it. And when the location is there, and when they see you in ChatGPT, but they also saw your Google reviews, and they also checked out your Instagram, a lot of those conversions are being attributed to ChatGPT ads, which is really, really exciting. So it's all new. It's very different than Google because it's so much more conversational. And in a way, there's a sense of trust there where like people really get a lot of value out of their conversations with ChatGPT. And so when it shows something relevant to them, they're not afraid of ads. That couples and brides today have grown up with paid ads online. So unlike old people like me who hate ads, they're not necessarily as averse to it, right? So it's more of a natural part of their internet experience, and it's really cool to see how ChatGPT is helpful. It builds trust, and when the right ad is placed at the right time, that it can do a lot of great things. So that is the basics of building a ChatGPT ads campaign. Here's a quick recap. Don't fail because you're only on one ad platform, or because you're dipping your toe in the water, or because you hired someone, or because you hired a business whose core service is not paid advertising. Multiple places, multiple times. I can't say it enough. You're probably like sick of me hearing that saying that phrase, but it's just the truth. When you communicate what makes you different, you will have more success. Different is better than better. ChatGPT ads are evolving quickly. It's opportunity to have huge new potential. They're not Google ads. They don't work in a silo. Don't run ChatGPT ads alone. And you must clearly state your location and what makes you different. So before we get to Q&A time, because this event is free and sponsored and hosted by the I Do Society, I have an offer for you. Because you're here and I know that you want to grow your business. I know you want more bookings. And because all that we do at the I Do Society is paid advertising, I would love to have the chance to meet with you and review your paid ad campaigns, audit your website, or audit your lead follow-up. And so we've got an offer for $100 off a paid consultation with myself. Normally they're $300, but if you use this code 0630, which is today's date, if you use that code and you book a meeting with me by the end of the week, we'll give you $100 off. You don't actually have to have the meeting this week. Just book the meeting for the future by the end of the day on Friday, and we're going to leave that code for $100 off open so you can get $100 off that meeting. The outcome of that meeting is really important. We're going to talk about your current ads if you're running them. We're going to talk about your strategy, talk about your website, talk about your lead follow-up. Whatever we can squeeze into that 1 hour, we'll squeeze as much as we can. And the goal of that meeting is to help you understand your strategy better, have a more clear plan so that you're not guessing on your paid ads. Have a website that converts better. Have lead follow-up that produces more responsive leads. and ultimately gets you better and more results from your paid advertising campaigns. So I would love to meet with you. The code is 0630. It's $100 off a one-on-one session with me. You have to book it by the end of the day on Friday, and you can book it for any time in the future. You don't actually have to have that meeting by the end of the day on Friday. And because I can only have enough energy to do one a day. I'll be super straightforward and honest with you. They're really intense meetings where we're going to learn a lot. We're going to record it. You're going to get the notes afterward. I've really only got the energy for one meeting a day, so that's my boundary with that. But I would love to meet with you because I know that you are ready to grow your business. You showed up. You want to learn about ChatGPT ads, so let's talk about it together. So there's a QR code for that. We're going to go to question and answer time, and you can drop your questions in the chat. And just if you want that QR code on the screen, I'm going to leave it there. And we're going to go to questions in the chat right now. So I've got it open before me on a different screen. So first question that is asked by Mary is, how do you determine whether the ads are effectively moving people from awareness to inquiries to bookings? This is a really difficult thing for ads to ask or for ad campaigns to answer. In Meta ads, which is Facebook and Instagram, they are asking people to put all of their different ads into one ad group, like lump your awareness and your remarketing ads and everything into one ad group together so that they'll show the ad to the right person at the right time. We don't know if that's true about ChatGPT ads or not. So right now, our recommendation is pretend like everyone's at the awareness level. And if they see you in multiple places multiple times, you will get results. And they may have a journey that includes multiple ad platforms and multiple touch points. But for ChatGPT ads, pretend like everyone's at the awareness level and pretend like everyone knows nothing about you. And that will be the best way for success of what we know right now. That may change in the future, but at the highest level, pretend like everyone's at the awareness level. And if that doesn't make sense, feel free to drop a follow-up question into the chat. Happy to answer that. Um, okay. Gabriella is asking, what's the minimum amount of days we should run a short-term campaign? Yes, in the past, we recommend 2 weeks. Gabriella, I'd love to know what type of business you have. I'm going to frame this for most wedding businesses. We work with a lot of bridal stores, and typically we want to run, like if you're running a trunk show or an open house or something like that, you want to run ads for at least 2 weeks before the event. A lot of people don't make a decision on whether they're going to attend a month out. So 2 weeks is a minimum, 3 weeks if you can afford it. Um, Mary's asking, so can someone just generally ask about the photo booth and then because they're in the region targeted, they will see the ad? Without actually typing in the location. Yes. So ChatGPT, someone's in Toledo, Ohio, and they're asking ChatGPT about, is it worth it to have a photo booth at my wedding? If your campaign targets people in Toledo, Ohio, your ad that says Toledo, Ohio photo booths is going to show up in that moment when they're asking ChatGPT about photo booths. ChatGPT knows where they're located, so it's going to be a natural transition. They don't have to type in that they're looking for a photo booth in Toledo. ChatGPT is going to put the pieces together, and as long as your ad says the right location, it'll be successful. Um, Amanda is asking, is the per day cost per ad, or can you run multiple ads? Yes. So the per day cost is per campaign. You can have as many ad groups as you want and ads inside that campaign, but your budget is set at the campaign level. So $25 a day, you can do outdoor wedding venue, all-inclusive wedding venue, luxury wedding venue, all in the same campaign for that one budget of $25 per day. Great question. Thank you, Amanda, for that compliment. All right, so Lucy is asking, is ChatGPT smart enough to get me leads if I specialize on elopement in New York City, but my couples are mostly from the UK and Germany? It's just very specific, and the service area is different than the area the leads are from. Yes. Um, I don't know. I don't know a database answer on this, Lucy, but let's say that you have a lot of couples that come from London to elope in New York City. You're going to create your campaign and you're going to geographically target London and you're going to put in those context hints New York City elopements, elopements in New York City, how to elope in New York City. All those context hints have to have New York City in them so that it makes ChatGPT force people who are in the UK or in London who are looking for New York City to elope and not other places see your ad when they're talking about New York City. It should work. I don't have data to tell you, but based on what I know about how context hints work and how location targeting works, I think it's a reasonably safe bet to set it up that way. Gabriel is asking, would you recommend running multiple ads if they do specialize in plus size, but they also provide other sizing? What's the balance? Yeah, at this point in time, run that campaign with plus size ads and then regular size ads in separate ad groups. And in ChatGPT, they have metrics like their metrics are super, super basic. But if you set up conversion tracking, you can see if you're getting leads from plus size or if you're getting leads from regular size, you'll be able to see the difference there. You'll also see metrics like click-through rate. That's a ratio of like how many people saw your ad versus how many people clicked on it. So the higher click-through rate means the more interest people have. So you can kind of compare the metrics for plus size and regular size. And if one's working better, then you can turn the ad group off with the one that's not working as well. And you can definitely do that. Jen Walker. Hi, Jen Walker. We are already spending so much money on Meta and TikTok and Google. Do you think some of our ad spend should be moved to chat? I think, Jen, I know you well, obviously I know your campaigns well. I think you're doing a great job saturating the market. And I would say that it's a maybe. I don't have a 100% answer for you. We do have a couple stores that are running paid ads in chat as well as other platforms. I think the other ones that are running ads are like mostly Google and Meta, and they've added on chat instead of TikTok. So I'm so sorry I don't have the right answer for you, but I do believe, as you know, like saturating the market is an amazing thing, but you're spending so much money already. So either way is okay. If you decide to try it for a little bit, will help, and if not, that's okay too. So thank you. All right. Gabrielle, you're right. Sorry, yeah, got that. Thank you. Mary's asking, how would this work for destination weddings where couples are coming from all over? Would that mean that you wouldn't put a location constraint? Here's how it would work, Mary. You are going to pick a location to target. Let's say that you help people get married in Mexico. So, and it's like Punta Cana or somewhere like that, right? So your context hints are all about where the weddings happen, but your location targeting is you're going to pick one DMA region. Like, let's say you have people that come from Phoenix, Arizona, they get married in Mexico a lot of the time. Look back on your books and find out like where do most couples come from and find that geographic region and like set your campaign location targeting to Phoenix, if wherever that's from. And those people in Phoenix who are looking to get married in Punta Cana, then ChatGPT matches it up that way. Don't target the whole United States. You've got to be very specific about where it is because that $25 a day is going to get blown out really quickly. So pick one or two regions and start there. Victoria's asking, I'm trying to verify my ads and I keep getting a complete business verification message. When I start verification, I keep getting failed to start. It is a glitch. ChatGPT ads freaking sucks right now with stuff like that. So I apologize. You can try it with different email addresses, like try going in with a different email address. But in the beginning, when we were doing a lot of verifications, it was super glitchy and sometimes it would take forever. And so I'm sorry I don't have any technical help for you on that. And ChatGPT doesn't offer any technical help service at the moment. So keep trying, try different email address if you can, and keep giving it. Have you implemented this already with clients and what's been the ROI? So it's only a month old. So ROI is a super big question because in the wedding industry, from the time someone discovers you to the time they book an appointment or a meeting with you to the time that they actually pay you is a whole lot of time. So, but we are tracking conversions and we are seeing conversions start to come in after a few weeks of the ads running. So the ROI right now is that we know for certain that campaigns that are running on ChatGPT are producing warm leads for the business. And I apologize that I don't have much more than that for you. But you know, and I don't have any reason, I don't make any money off of ChatGPT ads. Like ChatGPT doesn't care that I exist. What the reason I'm doing this and the reason I'm sharing this and I'm so excited about this is because I do believe that when you are seen in multiple places multiple times, that your business grows. We see it time and time again. And ChatGPT is a unique place that like a lot of people are going to be afraid of, a lot of people aren't going to be first to market to. So I can't give you a specific on ROI, but I do believe from my own personal experience, having been a wedding photographer, that the more places people see you, the more people get to your website from different locations, your business will grow. Catherine's asking, have you seen ChatGPT ads work for luxury services? I'm concerned that since the ads are only shown to free or tier users, I love it. Yes, this is super great. ChatGPT ads might not show to our target demographic. This makes so much sense. Let's assume that uh, like luxury people, I think that, okay, the opposite of this, and I'm sorry, I'm just verbally processing, is the opposite thought of this is that everyone who's a luxury person is paying for ChatGPT. And I think that that may not be true. I don't really know the answer to that. And I don't have any data on luxury versus not luxury, so I apologize. I would say if it's a really big concern, test it a little bit or hold off and wait until ChatGPT continues to evolve or forces ads on people who are paying for the full platform, because that's probably in the pipeline. ChatGPT is losing billions and billions of dollars every year. So it's not going to be long before ads start showing up for everyone in some sort of format. Heidi chimed in on that. I actually appreciate you chiming in on that, Heidi. I wouldn't assume a higher budget couple would necessarily have a need for a higher level ChatGPT plan, right? Because maybe that person only uses ChatGPT casually and they don't need to pay for it. And people who have a lot of money also like to save money. So, um, all right. Jen says, stop asking for more money, Mark. I'm not asking, I promise. All right. Amanda says, is there a reason to jump in now or wait to see how they perform? Will advertising now grandfather us into future upgrades and development? I don't know the answer to the grandfathering in, but that's a super great question, Amanda. I think the reason someone may jump in now is that you will have you're probably alone in your market where other venues aren't advertising on it. Like, you're probably going to have a lot of exclusivity right now. I think a lot of wedding businesses are going to be afraid of it because $25 a day is a big budget for a lot of people, and that's perfectly okay. So I think that there is a lot of exclusive eyeballs to be had right now in the beginning. I don't know anything about being grandfathered in. It's a great question. Um, Lucy's follow-up question. I assume if I want to target New York City elopement couples in Germany, I would have the ads written in German. Yes, you would. Thank you. Would that be a different ad campaign, or would that be in the same campaign, or would ChatGPT show German ads German's the English ad. You want to write ads in German. And I actually don't know if ChatGPT ads are showing in Germany right now. You can actually look that up because ChatGPT ads I know are in the UK, Australia, the United States, and Canada. But check to see if they're even running in Germany. And maybe set yourself an alert. You can actually ask ChatGPT to alert you. You can like go in there and say, hey, ChatGPT, when you start running ads in Germany, I want to know when that happens. So send me a message. Or you can set like a Google alert or something like that if they're not running ads in Germany just yet. If they are, you want your ads to be in German, of course. That makes total sense. Um, Great. Okay, I think that's all the questions. If anyone else has other questions, please drop them in the chat. Don't forget, I would love to meet with you. This $100 offer will be available until the end of the day on Friday. Please book a time with me. I'm fascinated by talking about ads. I'm fascinated by auditing ad campaigns. I'm ready to tackle whatever is going on with your business, whether in your ads, your website, or your lead follow-up, or your strategy. I think it's awesome. So thank you for letting me do that with you. And thank you for letting me talk about ChatGPT ads. I really, really appreciate you coming and spending your time with me. And if there's no other questions, I love you, Jen. You're the best too. If there's no other questions, we'll peace out. We'll give it one more minute for people to drop questions in if they want to. But other than that, have an amazing day.